Hello and welcome to the Pigsty 5.0 Grand Finals between our two special players, Serral and Clem. Now, keep in mind this is the Grand Finals for $10,000, so this is a very important match, especially considering the outcome of the last match between these two players. So I think we're going to get some amazing gameplay. And already we're seeing some harass here. Nice little transforming that drone into a, what do you call those things? Spore crawlers. So getting right into the action here. Queen popping out, trying to push this guy away. And just to cover our bases, you can see that Clem has already expanded a little bit. Moved on to building a command center. We got a factory and a barracks. And the barracks has a reactor. Now this guy's pushed pretty far into here, scouting all the way into the main base of the Zerg. Not much to see here, just metabolic boost coming down, and of course, the third base on the way. So super standard stuff from all the players here. Oh yeah, and I gotta turn on the units thing so that we can see what kind of stuff they're making at any point in time. I'm really curious what strategy these players are going to use. It looks like there's not going to be many more Reapers coming down. Just the one Reaper. And immediately going into the Starport and Hellions. These queens, of course, are doing a great job. So this is a pretty uh, conservative approach from Clem. Not especially aggressive, but of course going to be poking out, trying to see what damage can be done. And I just learned this earlier. We can see workers killed. None so far. But this army is here. This little, baby army. They're here to be annoying. And soon enough, we might even see Cloak. Yeah, I can't imagine you'd build this on the starport if you weren't going to build Cloak. Look at this. I like this. Just to make sure there's no scouting little guys. And this is getting quite formidable, I would say. This amount of Hellions, they could totally run in there, and that's exactly what they're going to do, running in there. But the Zerg, Serral, getting a surround on these guys, not much damage is going to be done. 3 workers for that entire little army there. Nice job by Serral, catching those guys by surprise. Or, getting the wraparound. Great job. So now we can see the layers on the way, so we're going to see some typical stuff, and 445 building our first spore crawlers. And here's the first Banshee. Almost like Serral has telepathic powers or something and just knows that the Banshee is on the way. But I think it's just a standard kind of timing thing that they do. Our Zergies. So we got 2 engineering bays coming down just so we can get 1-1 started. Poking away at this little base. Now looking at the drone count, you can see 60 workers for Serral to 47. Now this is quite annoying. With this Banshee, they can push the queens away from there because currently there was no Overseer. And it's actually 2 Banshees now. Hold on, I missed something. Serral snuck into here, killing 6 workers. That is crazy. And you can see Serral obviously doing some amazing damage. Somehow just fit these lings in right through here. This is the power that Serral has. Serral just has those extra wiggly Zergs. Trying to get damage. You can see Serral even repositioning the workers there just to avoid some of that. Banshees, of course, cloaked, flying in from the top. But there is a spore crawler here, so maybe they can get a queen. Maybe they can get a drone. Got 1 drone. But it's going to be tough to get more than that. So now we got some roaches building. 1-1 on the way. And Goliath reconstitution. Excuse me. And even a infester pit. I almost called it a den. Infested pit. And a banding nest. Just building everything you can build. Except for a hive. I think that'll come soon enough. Last time Interestingly, in one of the last games I casted, it came around like 8 minutes. I feel like that was like a bit early, but I'm not super aware of the timings nowadays, so it'll be interesting to compare the timing of the hive in this game compared to that last series I casted where Serral lost to max packs. Little marine army pushing across the map, taking out some overlords, always annoying. And here comes Serral. Ooh, nice wall off. Clem says, not again. Now these just look like regular little marines, but 1-1 is about to finish, so they could do some serious damage if they get into the right spot, you know? If you drop those guys into the correct location and Zerg isn't there in time, you could just snipe a base, just like that. Now this, the Zerg composition, it's coming down to lots of these Ravagers, Roach Ravager, Ling, probably going to be adding on Banelings later, because we're already developing speed. Oh, and look, here's the hive. Whoa! Looks like it started, I don't know how long this takes, like a minute or something. It might have started at like 7 minutes or something like that. So that is quite early. 2-2 already on the way. And this Terran army looking pretty scary. Siege tanks on the way. gonna have lots of siege tanks. So we're gonna see that typical bio Terran army where there's gonna be lots of splits, explosions from the siege tanks. That's a lot of roaches. 197 supply for Serral. And they say, screw this, I'm going over here. Thought they were going to the main base. Nope. Serral actually already have like a little thing here, so this is pretty good that Clem decided to just stick down here and cancel this base rather than flying to the main, but now he's gonna learn. Ah! Lots of spore crawlers. Looks like there's a little baneling force over here preparing. Just denying this fourth or fifth base from Zerg is so important because, oh wait, where did those, oh here they are, they're still here. Just keeping the Zerg limited, not letting the Zerg ever really get this fifth base down, that's so important. And now this attack is down here, but there's also an attack up here, really stretching Serral to the limits. Oh no, did I miss it? How many was that? Looks like just 2 workers, so mostly handled. Nice pull away from Clem. These guys are too fast for me. I'm not noticing these things. And here we've got a sizable force. But we've also got lurkers as well to help out with this whole these tanks and their crazy range. These Vipers have a skill where they can drop it down and completely reduce the range of every unit in the cloud to 0. Serral actually doing quite well, handling this quite well. Now I did learn, is it this? Units killed. Wow. Is it that Zerg's only killed 89 or I don't know how that works. And you can see this little army just parading across, building up and preparing because Clem just really does not want Zerg to get to have 5 bases. Running onto here, nice little cloud. Even some of these guys getting low somehow. Taking out 2 siege tanks, great job. And Ultralisks added on. This is looking quite scary, looking quite hard. How can you even manage this? A little attack coming up here. Are we going to see any Baneling hits? That looks like a yes to me. Oh, what's going on? No, they got a little confused there. There we go. We are going to get some, and the Ultralisk even helping out. And at the same time, Serral looks like he's cleaning this whole army up. So Serral does 12 SCVs and clears up the main army for Clem. Serral just putting the work in, somehow doing 2 things at once. Attacking into the main, you know, Terran line, the third base of Clem and also clearing up the main army. And now running away with this, running away with that success and pressuring down onto this fourth base. I think if Serral could get rid of this fourth base, that would truly be the nail in the coffin. But so far, I think handled well from both players. Both players have a lot of workers, so this is, yeah, that was good by Serral, but this is by no means the end for either player. There's plenty of room to keep playing, and that just, you know, that's just because Clem was able to get his fourth base, because he used all that pressure and the time to get his fourth base. So even though he lost some units and he lost his army, doesn't matter. His economy is still totally good. And here we go, Serral running in, attacking from both sides. Banelings and Ultralists running in just like the true Zerg. Oh my god. Oh my god, GG. That is it. That Banelings, you never see Banelings do that well against Marauders, but there you go. That was an amazing army. It almost seemed like Clem could have held on, but the army just was not there. Serral taking game 1. GG. I'll see you guys in the next game. Hey, and welcome to game 2. Between Serral and Clem. That last game was crazy, and we gotta see what's gonna happen in this game. So far, super standard. Just expanding on the low ground. Little Reaper opening. Actually, 2 barracks producing Reapers. This is a little bit different. This is more aggressive. Still getting the CC in there. Now we see the first Reaper showing up. 2 more on the way. This map is weird. This Reaper getting right behind here, attacking on that drone. Not quite getting a kill. Nice micro by both players. Wow, there are lots of areas to jump around and jump down. I can totally see why he's going Reapers here. And still producing more Reapers. Clem. I think this is really going to come down to how Serral can manage this, because Zerg is just a little bit limited in the early game. Metabolic boost still like 30 seconds away or so. Lair already on the way. Are you kidding? That's crazy. That's an extremely fast lair from Serral. So Serral certainly got some plans going in his head. Certainly thinking of something devious. Maybe Mutalisks? No, looks like roaches. Wow. Serral gonna pull out some secret little roach rush. Somehow, all of these Reapers, even though they're out on the map, they still haven't scouted yet. And that's because these queens holding the ramp up here, just trying to make sure that these guys can't figure out what's going on. But surely Clem must be thinking, where the heck is the third base? So I feel like there's no way that Clem doesn't know. Maybe he's thinking now, where is that third base? Maybe it's down here? It could be down here. Alright, now he sees it. 100% for sure knows. And Roach is already on the way, already almost finished. Oof. Now let's just see. It looks like only 1 worker killed. But losing all of these Reapers. I'm not so sure. That's a lot of Reapers killed, which might have been useful against these roaches, especially just to apply pressure when the Zerg leaves with the army. But you know, I'm not so sure. So we'll have to see. I love this. You could just fit drones and units through here. Third base, halfway done. And it's got like half gold, half regular minerals. That's kind of nutty. I love this map. It's wild. Third base for Clem also coming down soon. Actually, it might be down at the exact same time as Serral's, which is a little sus. 44 workers for Serral to 43 for Clem. Already got a little observer. What are those called? Medevac pickup. Might go drop in the base. Plus 1 attack, and more barracks on the way. This little attack is scary, but the roaches are there and prepared. And here comes another little force. It's like Clem's already reacting and going, oh shit, I gotta go home. Gotta deal with that. Broke through. Dang, there's nothing here. Let's see. Serral once again in the base. 2 workers already going down. Serral's just made of different stuff. The workers actually even fighting the roaches. That is not good. 7 workers, 8, 9 workers. They will be able to clean this up. Clem will be able to, but not before losing a lot of workers. I think that's super, super good, super important. Just one little guy here also causing problems. It's super important because, I mean, if you didn't do damage with this, with that delayed economy, you were going to be in trouble. Oh my god. Forcing the, not even getting the cancel on the upgrade of combat shields. But these Marines out here now trying to clear up as many of these guys as they can, chasing them across the map, forcing Serral to produce even more roaches because he's going to need a little army if he's going to keep himself safe. Thankfully, he's already got his 4th down on the way. Little drone here just hanging out. And a drop coming out. Seeing what can be done. I just want to note that there's a observer here and a roach over here. Just trying to, you know, watch everything. Keep an eye on everything. Maybe we'll see Nidus later. You never know. You never know. Burrowed roaches coming in here. Maybe they'll get right on top of this. I want to see this. Are they going to get right on top of that? Oh no. In the 3rd and in the main. And this attack here repelled. This attack of the medevacs repelled. And when are these guys going to pop up? Here we go. Pop. GG. That is so crazy. Serral just picks apart Clem. That is a quick 2-0 from Serral in this, I think, best of 9. So that is just, wow, Serral. I mean, I'm a Zerg player, and I didn't know it was possible to do that to a Terran. So, great game there. See you guys in the next one in just a second. Hello, and welcome into the 3rd game between these 2 players. Starting out with some very standard kind of stuff. Low base expand for Clem. And a typical little expand for our Zergy. Just pathing here, I guess. Waiting to see what's going to happen. I'm not so sure. Time to go home. And the Reaper comes in. Okay. Now that last game was wild. Already getting a first drone pickoff. Already better than the start of the last game, in my opinion. There was not much damage that has been done by Clem in either of these games. And I have to think that that last game was kind of an upset. Serral totally just like came out with some wild strats. But Serral kind of getting a little surrounded. This guy not getting the kill though. But definitely a little annoying. Clem frustrating this little drone over here. But still getting it down. Serral expanding just fine. CC already started up. 3-minute CC. Wonderful. And we'll have speed coming up here pretty soon too. Man, that game, I'm still reeling from that last game. That last game just blew my mind. I haven't seen Zerg do stuff like that in a long time. At least when I played, Zerg wasn't capable of that. So that's kind of like just the Serral, you know, flavor, right? That kind of thing that he brings. And I think in a best of 9, you're going to see a lot more strategies like this. Like a lot of like weird kind of special strategies, because you have so many games to play against somebody, and you can become really predictable if you just do the same thing every single time. I think especially against someone who's like really good, like these 2 players. But so far, pretty standard. I think I just learned what this is. Okay, no, I haven't learned what this is, because this is not 111. This is something else, because there's no starport. Oh, there is a starport, but there's 4 buildings. I don't know how that works. Lair starting up. 4-minute lair. Super standard. And thankfully we got a 3rd base this time for Serral. Woohoo! Right, although Serral had something else that he was doing. Something quite scary and aggressive. I wonder if we'll see Banshees again with the tech lab. I already got stem coming down and a little reactor just to keep producing these guys. Looks like we're going to keep adding on even more. How many is that? So looks like we're going to maybe go up to like 6 or so. Oh! Wow, look at this. A little armory. Are we seeing mech? But we're seeing medevacs. I don't know how Terran works. But maybe we'll see like blue flame or something. I don't know. What upgrades are even in here? In any case, little push out. Not syncing with any upgrades. Just gonna be annoying. And potentially very dangerous. Oh, there we go. That's what it is. Hellbats. How do you make those? Was that like an upgrade? I don't actually know. This attack, pretty scary. Having to pull away all this stuff here. It's just queens and lings, no banelings. This is actually really scary. This must have been a timing attack. Sorry, I don't know enough about this kind of stuff. But thankfully we got some roaches already showing up. So the attack was repelled, thankfully, by all the queens, little bits of lings, and then roaches coming out. Super great for our Zerg player. Maybe a little bit frustrating for Clem, but Clem's fine. Clem's got a little third base already down. Can't land here. Serral just already prepared. He's got everything everywhere. Although this attack up here, I mean, those guys aren't going to be able to cancel that building, so just being super annoying is what I would say is what the strategy is right now. Now I'm curious, are we going to see just more medevacs, tanks? What was this for? I don't actually know. Was that for the Hellbat thing? Oh, wow. And here we go. Serral made a large production and still actually producing roaches and ravagers. So this is going to be a strong, very powerful force. Siege tank already up there on the high ground. Serral's got a lot of units, even killing many SCVs having to be pulled. Clem realizes how dire this is. 8 SCVs going down, more going down. And this roach army is still coming. Serral just producing so many units. Catching Clem completely by surprise. Wow. Picking up and heading out, but you can't land that third base. And it's going to be hard to for a long while. And all this time, Serral is just going to be able to do whatever he wants. Currently, still just producing lings. I wonder, was there any other tech produced? No other tech produced. So still just pushing here, trying to take out as much as they can. Now these Ravagers, they could technically reach up here, especially with this Observer, because of their Bile attack. Roughly equal in drones, but the army supply is a lot higher for Serral. I think also just the supply in general. This is a huge push, but there are not enough. I don't think there's enough. I think this is going to be held. Yeah, held for the Terran. Just wasn't enough bios to really, you know, one-shot these tanks up here on the high grounds, chasing them out, and even dropping the mule down, getting ready to get that mining started. Very nice. Surviving. Clem frustrated, but still in it. Clem even taking a worker lead. I think might have been a bit of a overcommitment, in my opinion, from Serral. I think you could have taken, when you initially just lifted the CC here, I think you could have just started producing more drones or something. You know, just take a little drone lead and then produce more units later. Infestation pit coming down, and this army kind of doing a little bit of a, you know, attack over here, but still so many units for... Ooh, nice drop down here, killing 6 drones and forcing the pull away from the rest of them. Nice little attack back. I think this is super equal between these two players. here. Especially because Clem got that damage with on the drones over there. And then Serral, during that entire time, was just building units. He wasn't, yeah, he was on 4 bases, but it's functionally 4 base versus 3 base, which isn't that bad for our Terran. And most of these attacks are just non-committal, just trying to make something happen. This guy getting quite low. Hive on the way. I wonder what tech we're gonna see. Do you see buildings in this? You don't. How do you see buildings? I don't know. 1 siege tank. 2 siege tanks. Little army. Gonna see what they can make happen over here. And timing this with, I think 2-2 is what that is. And Serral running into the main base with just about 10 lings. Nice concave for the Zerg, but siege tanks, they're strong, and this is a lot of units just continuing to flood over here for Clem. Great job. Serral thinks that he can't have it, can't take it down, and that's a game for Clem. And I'll see you guys in the next game. Welcome back to Game 4 in this series between Clem and Serral. Now, Clem clawed back a little bit of an advantage there. It was 2-0 for Serral in this best of 9. Any kind of advantage that you can draw back is so important. I think, especially after the kind of victories that Serral was getting, that's got to be really frustrating. So it's really great to see Clem striking back. And I think that's going to give a lot of momentum because Serral kind of overextended there. Like maybe even like underestimating Clem a little bit. And I think that's just so huge for the psychology of the matches. Because, you know, Clem is here and Clem's here to stay. And Clem's going to do exactly what he has to do to win. And I think that that's, you know, so important because he's not nothing, you know, this is going to be a serious competition between these two players. And Serral might be a little bit taken back on the back foot. And I think whenever the momentum shifts like that, it can just keep going in one direction. So we got these Reapers coming across and very standard looking stuff again. Starport. Okay, so this I think is 1-1-1. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But I think this is 1-1-1 into a quick third CC. And for our Zerg, metabolic boost is almost done. Look at all those nice little happy drones. Just completely containing this little guy. Just not letting him in, no matter what. And that's super important, just for scouting purposes. Also just so that you can allow yourself to do whatever you need. Now, looks like we're going to see another Banshee with Cloak. And we're seeing these reactor Hellions being produced quite fast. So, looks like we're going to have at least 4 reactor Hellions. $39 workers for Serral. Nice little touch of a lead. Ooh, some vulnerable drones, I think. But not quite getting them. Nice little Spore Crawler. Is that a Spore Crawler? Spore Crawler trick. Saving him. Spore Crawler tech. Just poking around. They're on the way. Just super standard so far. Not much going on. Third base coming down super handily. I do wonder though, because last time that was a Hellbat push. Adding on more barracks. 2 more barracks. Looks like it's just going to be Marine, Marauder, Medevac, in my opinion. And then going into 1-1. So I don't know what you call this, but it just seems super standard to me. And I'm really curious what the Zerg's gonna do, because we don't see a Roach Warren this time. We don't see a Hydralisk Den. There we go. Baneling Nest. Is that a Spore Collar? So far, some very active games. I mean, these guys have been seeing if they can snipe a queen. Nice little transfuses. 3, 4, 5, 6 queens there. Yeah, but they've been having some very active, very strong games. And it's just a pleasure to watch, like, how strong these guys are. Oh, and these Banshees, they're coming in, but they might just scout what's coming up, which is a Spire for Serral. Serral, putting it in the natural, I think that's a good idea. It's a little bit harder to scout, a little bit harder to get there, especially even with the Banshees. So now we're finally seeing tanks starting to roll out. Even a couple more barracks with reactors. Ooh, and what's that? An armory. Huh. Maybe for Hellbats? I've learned that that's for Hellbats. Probably not mech, guys. Definitely not. Is it gonna be mech? I saw an armory get built. Is it mech? That was me in the last game. Sniping 2 queens. Very nice. And I love clearing out this creep. Super important. You gotta clear out the creep. Because, especially Serral, like, they'll just fill the entire... I think I might have casted this game before. Did I cast this game before? Because I saw this exact thing happen before. Anyways. I didn't know what series it was. I was just getting started casting and stuff like that. So I do like recognize a few little things. Like this is memorable to me, but it's not like I know I don't even know the outcome. I don't know what's gonna happen, but that is funny that I've casted this. This is a very recent game, by the way. Ooh, look at these guys. Maybe I haven't casted it. Yeah, and this attack down here. Now, if I'm right, this attack, I'm remembering, it's all gonna fail. It's all gonna die. Oh my god, I'm a genius. I'm the best caster ever. I know exactly what happens. And it's because I'm just that good of a caster. Yeah, these mutas really putting in work. Now that was a nice attack. They had 1-1, and so that was quite formidable. And Serral just totally coming out of nowhere with this. You know, Serral just has Serral producing these guys right in time. And that's always like one of the hard things with Zerg is you're producing lots of drones, and then when do you stop producing drones and start producing army? And that's always the hard thing. And so that's sort of like when you see something like that, like where the Zerg clears up the army, it's like Serral probably just had like an amazing read, or just got kind of lucky, but probably an amazing read and just kind of understood what was going to happen. Now these Mutalisks flying into the main, being super annoying, and kind of being pinched here between these 3 little armies. That's kind of crazy. They can definitely get away, though. I mean, it's hard to contain mutas with just those guys. Some Banshees over here doing a little bit of harass. Not too much, though. Look at this army, though. Lots of Banelings. Tons and tons of Lings. I was curious, I wonder when we're going to see a hive, if we're going to see a hive. +2 already on the way for air attack. And here we go. A massive parade march coming across the map. Now this attack is very different from the last one. They're very strong. They're going to have even more upgrades soon. But Serral just says, screw that. I'm not actually even going to bother fighting you guys. I'm just going all the way around, and I'm getting directly into your natural and in your main base. Now, this is, of course, really dangerous. I think it's better for the Zerg when you do these base trades, but it's dangerous because the Terran army is so powerful. So this hold is really going to come down to, can Serral, with his backup army, actually weaken these guys enough that he can return with his secondary army and clean it up. Now, if we look down here, just glance at it, 24 to 10. That's 25. It's so much damage being done by this Zerg just in the main base, clearing up everything. Clem actually deciding, I'm actually going to have to send back the majority of that, and then Serral cleaning up the rest of it. Most of it anyways. The rest of it just being left here to harass. But Clem, here, fighting for this tournament, fighting for the finals, trying to win this $10,000, having to return home to deal with this because the Zerg has completely infested his main. That is a great call by Serral, doing tons of damage. We can see 70 workers to 25, 44 SCVs killed now by our lovely little Zerg Serral. And look at that army. That's just so many. So many banelings, so many lings. And they got 1-1-1. But I would say, don't count Terran out. I would never count Terran out too soon, especially when they have a high army supply. We've got 101 army supply here for our Terran, so that's actually a pretty hefty army. And there's always a chance that you can march across and you can just wipe one army. You get right down into the throat of the Zerg, like maybe like over here, where all the bases rally into here, and then it just becomes very crucial. Or up here, you know, like, how do you even attack this? Like, you have to go all the way around over here. So, definitely, there's totally lots of opportunities for Clem to come back into this. Clem still has very high supply. Serral pushing away with this army, jumping right onto it, even with a small little force, dealing a lot of damage there. Not boding exactly well for Clem, but I'd say still not exactly the worst thing either. You can actually see Clem taking an army lead. I think Clem completely all in. 120 supply. Looks like he's committing to this upper push. He's going to siege this up. Completely fill it up with these little mines, siege tanks, and his very powerful Marines. Marines, to me, they always just kind of look like nothing. But here we go. Serral pushing onto this. Pushing off of Creep. Killing that first tank. Just whittling it down. Trying to hold on to his 5th base. But Clem not giving him the opportunity to run away. Free-splitting his Marines, forcing him to go off of the creep, chasing, but already good damage already done. And there we go, clearing out a little bit more with those mines. Chasing Clem down here, and Clem down here actually picking off of 5th base, an extra little base, but clearing up the rest of the army. That's 62 army supply to 78. 78 for Serral. This is all that's left, basically, and this little army down here. This, I think for Clem in this situation, he'll really have to pull a rabbit out of a hat. And I think Serral probably notices this, chasing this army down, seeing what damage he can be done. Because that's 75 workers to 37. Actually, Clem's kind of closed the gap a little bit. But as you know, this first base is mining out. Clem is gonna have to find another expand, or even 2. Or somehow win an amazing engagement. That's really the only way I see that coming back into this. The Mutalisk Micro has been great this entire game, by the way. And here we go. We see another little push committing up here to the north. And a little attack coming down here, just to keep harassing, pulling some of the Zerg down here, so that the Terran up here can hit extra hard. Just trying to deny this mining base. It's so important. Even this little backup force is so strong. Running up, detonating on all these guys. It's hard to deal with this. This Zerg army is just overwhelming. And Clem gives us the GG. That's another victory for Serral. And I'll see you guys in the next game. Hey guys. We're on to game 5. In this best of 9 series. So that last game was kind of crazy. And I think this whole match is kind of blowing my mind. Because currently it's looking very good for Serral. It's 3-1. So Clem is really going to have to pull something out to continue in the series. There's 2 more matches, 2 more wins required for Serral to win the entire thing, win the grand finals. So I think we're going to have to really see Clem step up soon. Or because if he loses this game, then Serral is just going to be one game away from winning the entire thing. So now let's take a look here. Some nice buildings, starport, barracks, and reactor Hellion again. Super normal Zerg. Now I'm curious. I wonder if we're probably gonna see Banshees. Seems like Clem really likes the Banshees. Banshees and Hellions. So far, both players playing very standard, except for that one game where Clem did like the double barrack Reaper, which is still, I guess, probably kind of standard, and then Serral doing the crazy fast lair into a roach burrow attack. So far, very standard from both players. Now, one thing we're seeing here is Armory. And if I remember right, that means that we might be seeing, especially with the Reactor Hellions, a timing attack with these guys. With the, what are they? Hellbats. Yeah, so we might be seeing a Hellbat timing attack. Serral, I think, has droned quite heavily. Does Serral even have speed? Serral just now starting to mine gas, I guess? Serral actually has enough for speed. Has chosen... No, Serral has speed. Okay, I'm dumb. Don't listen to me, guys. I just missed it earlier. Normally I point it out. But here, there's already these guys. They're kind of... Ooh, even some Marines. This is a scary attack. Diving on there. Killing a queen. Oh, and they're just stepping up right into the natural. This is small, but it's huge. Lots of damage potential here to be done already. Oh, so far, no drones going down. There we go, 2 drones. Serral catching a couple of those guys from the side. Oh, and how do you surround this? They're right in the minerals. This is so rough. Just completely disrupting the Zerg economy and killing so many queens. That is absolutely devastating. Oh no! Run! Run, drones, run! This is what I'm talking about. Like, we need... Like, this is the kind of stuff that we need to see. There's even a Liberator coming in. This damage isn't enough. Clem says it's not enough. I'm going to do even more. Liberator on the way. I'm killing everything in your base. This is looking devastating. Still, though, Serral actually still at 46 workers. It's a lot of damage, but these bases still mining. But now with this Liberator, what are you going to do? That's... The entire Zerg army isn't able to function anymore. Now, most of this army cleared up. And I think Clem taking a great stance here. Taking a great position and pulling ahead. Because this CC is on the way. Soon, it's going to be finished. And we're going to be able to expand. We're going to see 1-1. And, yep, that's it. Clem takes the game. Serral thinks it's way too much damage done. There's no way to deal with it. And it's just put you so far behind that you can't handle it. So Serral gives the GG. Clem takes a game. Super important that we saw that. Now it's 3-2. Much more favorable looking for Clem. See you guys in the next game. Alright guys. Game number 6. And we find ourselves on El Dorado. That last game was exactly what I wanted to see from Clem. Just a little bit of a mix-up in the styles. Causing some chaos in the Zerg economy and mineral lines. And just completely catching Serral off guard and taking that win. I loved that. And I totally want to see more of that. More of this, like, mix-up strategy kind of stuff. Especially when the main thing isn't working. And this is just looking a lot better for Clem now. 3-2 in favor of Serral. So Clem is totally capable of winning these games. And I think completely capable of winning this entire tournament. This is not going to be a one-sided domination. Clem's got plenty of things to pull out of his... What do you call it? Like pull out of his sleeve? You know, something. There's like a term for that. I don't know what that is. So let's take a look down here. We've got a command center, and Looks like we're gonna. I'm guessing it's starport. Are we gonna see a starport? But interestingly, the CC before, huh? The third CC before the third building looks like a little bit of a more macro-oriented build. And a roach warren coming down for Serral. Their base successfully being grabbed, even with the harassment of this little guy here. I like this. I like that this like slightly more greedy style, and then adding on another barracks. I wish I knew more about builds. Someday I'm gonna learn more about Terran, and I'm gonna figure out what the heck this means. I know the CC is a little earlier. Ooh, and then no, that's just the landing the factory. And then he's gonna move this over to here, I suppose. That's how Terran works, right? But now these roaches coming out. I don't think this is like a I don't think this is like a roach all in or anything. It is actually a lot of roaches. 9 roaches. Oh, what is going on here? It is a lot of roaches. And that's because some spicy, surprising stuff is happening. Little drone migration secretly occurring, clearing up a pathway into the natural of Clem. Now this is surprising. This is spicy. This is awesome. Roaches already here, and they're just waltzing right in there. Clem just so happens to take a little bit of a greedy approach on this exact game, and Serral says, "Go fuck yourself." SCVs having to be pulled, already dealing a lot of damage to these roaches. 7 workers already going down, dealing tons of damage. Expelling the Zerg army, but 13 SCVs going down. Now that was surprising. 49 workers for Serral, and 32 for Clem. Now you can see what their incomes look like. Pretty equal income-wise, except for gas, which is favoring Serral, which makes sense. Maybe? How many extractors are there? Yeah, it looks like 2 to 3, so just a little more extractors. I think overall, yeah, that was good for Serral. Oh my god, 5. I missed that. Like 5 little drones going down there. Let's go ahead and see this again. Just look at this. Just 2 Hellions sneak in here and somehow kill 5 guys. That's kind of crazy. How do you guys manage this? Oh, I feel like it's... Oh man. Yeah, I guess using the drones there to kind of end it, you know, you probably should have stopped them earlier. I think that's why I like these more aggressive strategies, because we see Clem a lot of times just sort of poking around, not really diving in there. Yeah, it's like not great to give that up, you know, your units, and it's definitely not great if it doesn't work out. But if you're already in a tough spot, might as well just like send those guys in there every once in a while. Just remind them that like you can do it. You know what I mean? Now Serral, of course, really good at positioning and usually stopping those guys, but Clem pushed up here, doing a little bit of extra roach micro, transforming them into Ravagers. Glaral Reconstitution coming down. Infestation Pit on the way. And let's see. More barracks. It's like we're just going to see MMM and tanks in the main base. Killing the queen. No! Poor queen. That's okay. I do love roaches. Roaches are like my preferred kind of build, I think. When I play, I just love roaches. They feel so strong. They're very supply heavy. They feel so strong. Income. Slightly in favor of Zerg. But this base is coming down for Clem. And now one thing to note is that neither player took a base down here. A lot of times you see that. You see them take bases down here. Serral opting to take a base up here. I like this. You know, expanding further away from your opponent. Now, what are these guys? Overseer. It's not Observer. It's close to Observer, but it's Overseer. Ooh, tanks in the medevac. And this army here. Oh, are they gonna... What are they gonna do? Are they gonna go in here into the natural? Where are they? I wonder where they're gonna put the tanks. Are there any spicy tank spots? I guess you could just put the tanks like here and then like run up through here, you know? But deciding not to, deciding to head back home. I gotta see the production. What's in production? Ooh, swarm hosts and a hive. Almost done. This is a very early hive. This is like they started this at like 7 minutes or something. Kind of blowing my mind. And 1-1's almost done for our little old Terran player. Getting this again, I guess maybe for Hellbats, probably. Seems like that's like all it's used for in these games. Coming up here, harassing the 4th base of the Zerg. Ooh, actually almost lost a medevac there to the Biles. 72 workers for Serral, 62 for Clem. Looking pretty good. And Clem says, looking too good for the Zerg. I'm gonna have to do something about that. Pushing out. It's like later we'll have mines? What are they called? They're just like mines. Something mines. Mini mines. I don't know. Lurker's on the way, not quite here yet to deal with this push. It's gonna have to be roaches and lings to deal with this. But the creep spread has not been spread here. It's one of the hard things about defending a base like this. And this army is quite formidable. Jumping in here, clearing out a lot of these guys, and then they can just step back whenever they want. There's no banelings. Oh, here we go. Our first 3 lurkers. Clearing up as many of these guys as we can. Oh, look at this. Great strategy from Serral, sniping that guy from the high ground. Well, that's just the kind of game knowledge that you need, right? In a good position. A little scary. Terran taking this nice concave over here, but can't actually maintain it. The tank actually looks like it was almost hitting this. Wow. And Clem not spreading those tanks enough, being able to take out 2 at once, and then just diving into here. Oh, I think that was... He probably wasn't watching, just lost those Marines there. Unfortunate for Clem. And Serral holds this base. Was there... I saw blue up here. Did I? But a nice hold for our Zerg player. Gonna be even more and more lurkers and these upgrades on the way. Wow, this is a doom drop if I ever saw one. And it's gonna be scouted. That is a nice little scout there. Already had the army on the way. Just very fortunate. Maybe he... Oh, the Ling probably saw it. The Ling probably saw it. What are they called? Widow mines. They're called widow mines. Now that would have been a scary drop if it got in the main without Serral noticing. But this is starting to make me wonder, when is Serral going to take his 5th base? Because looking at the income, it's actually higher in minerals for Clem. Worker counts are very similar, and it's 4 base to 4 base. We see the 5th base being taken, and Serral kind of pushing across here with this little expeditionary force, and even a couple of these lurkers. Trying to see what they can do. But it's going to be kind of hard to make anything happen, I think, with just this small force here. Nidus on the way. I love this. I love seeing a Nidus, especially when you've got lurkers. They're so good. Oh, poor Observer. Observer? Overseer. Very equal economies. I'm liking this more and more for Clem. Especially with these ghosts being added on. Moving up to 3-3. About to finish +2 defense. So Clem's army just growing stronger and stronger. Also Zerg finishing +2. And I wonder if we're going to add on Vipers eventually. It adds another keybind, which is pretty tough to deal with. But definitely no Vipers yet. But here we go. Another push coming up here to try and deny this north base from the Zerg. And a drop in the main. Drop in the main, and this Zerg army is a little bit out of position. This Terran army is already here. They could just jump right on this and snipe that. Maybe even get some of these drones. Oof. And here come the lurkers just running in. Trying to save the drones. They save them pretty good. And this drop up here in the north was, in the south, and the main base was expelled, thankfully. But losing that base, definitely not the worst thing considering you have this other base already basically mining, and you have another base coming up already as well. But Clem, not slowing down anytime soon, taking another one, and even adding on a few CCs. Totally wonderful. Not going to be quite so easy to take that. Serral not going to let it happen, but here we go. We get our first little Nidus network. Ooh, if those bios hit, they might have done some good stuff. Level 3 Carapace on the way. Oh, I actually almost sniped that ghost. That would have been really interesting. Ooh, like a secret little army over here. Coming along the south. Looks like they're going to harass this base from behind. And that's going to be tough to deal with. I'm curious about the income. Definitely actually in favor of the Zerg. And looks like this army up here, small little army, being harassed, but not being able to be taken out. Couple little mine explosions. I love this. This is so hard to deal with. I guess you just like snipe it. Looks like the snipe range is far enough to actually reach over there. And a Nidus in the main base. There's already ghosts on top of it. And then another base. This is what Serral is so good at. Attack down here, attack in the main base, and then attack up here. He's just going and going and going. He's attacking from every single side. And he's even got lurkers coming up here. Seems like they are going to have a tough time getting onto here. But sniping that planetary, love that. Losing some units though, some marauders and other units jumping right onto the Zerg army and clearing it up. Oh, and looks like this is going to be cleared out, taking the opportunity for Clem to clear out all these guys. Now that is a lot of army loss, and Serral doesn't actually have a ton of bank to deal with that. You can look at the army supply. It's definitely in favor of Clem now. 101 to 93, and the worker supply is pretty equal for both players. And I think the ghosts are sitting healthy, so ghosts are just doing very well. Ooh, getting kind of a little wraparound on some of these ghosts. Doing pretty good. Taking some of them out. Very nice. Love that. But these lurkers, they're really hard to defend against these ghosts. These ghosts are kind of cracked. This guy's got 3 kills. I wonder how many kills they got. They all have 3 kills? 1 kill. Just a little mine over here, just to be annoying. Oh, getting jumped on again. Wow. And they can just say nope. Not even worried about the Hydralisks pushing in here. Serral's really gonna need something more, but it looks like the army is just getting a little bit low for Serral. Pushing in here, taking out the 5th base. This is a very important mining base. Serral trying to respond in kind, but there are still ghosts here. And some forced to slow this whole little push down. So not quite able to get in there. I'm liking this more and more and more for our Terran, especially when you look at the supply. 200 to 143 supply. I think it largely comes down to that income lead that was happening for a while, and then the army lead. Like, you really need some way to deal with these ghosts, and I think a lot of times the way to deal with that is just to have a lot larger of an economy than your opponent, and Serral has not really been able to grab that. Even though he was able to defend some of these earlier attacks in the beginning, he was still limited economically. Getting his 5th was, in my opinion, a little bit slow. Not like because Serral is bad or anything, it's just because Clem is pressuring him so much. So Serral definitely playing on the back foot, but not ready to quite give it up yet. He's still got lots of units. He's still got lots of strong units. Pushing down here. Trying to make it work. These ghosts sniping and sniping more and more. It's just lings and lurkers. And looks like these lurkers are definitely going down. And that's so much more. Oh no. Army supply. Once again, looking quite low for Serral. Doing some nice harass here with these guys. But here comes a very powerful push. Pushing onto Serral's side of the map. actually getting a little wraparound. If only it mattered, because at any time that he wants to leave these medevacs, there's more than enough space in there to pick them up. Trying to dive onto that, I think, but they just have so many upgrades. They're so strong. It's hard. I wonder, is it 3-3? Yeah, it's 3-3 versus only 1 attack for the Lings. 3 defense and 2 attack in terms of missile. So, definitely a large advantage for our Terran player. I wonder if there's been any... one day I need to figure out how to look at buildings. I thought you could just look at units and it would show you buildings too, but apparently not. What is this upgrade? I don't even know what that is. The heck? The game's just kind of slowing down. Serral not ready to tap out. Still definitely has these mining bases. So Serral's not really in a position where it's GG yet, but it's... I think the longer this goes on, the more and more expensive this army for Clem is going to get. Army supply actually kind of evening out. Big attack here, getting us around. I think it might have been killing some stuff, so I just want to go make sure that I see that. Super important engagement here. Trying to dive over here, but lots of Lings jumping in. No, okay, it didn't really get much. And not able to actually get onto the main ghost, but taking out some liberators. Taking out some units. Very nice. And GG. Serral just sees that he's just been whittled down. It's gonna be tough. 118 supply to 197. Another win from Liquid Clem in this best of 9 series that is so important. Hey guys, and welcome back to this best of 9 series. Now we are currently 3-3. No advantage for either player, and Clem, I think, really showed up in that last game, and showed up in a way that I've been kind of putting him out, right? Like, I'd been kind of ignoring Clem's capability to have a really long and strong macro game against Serral, because it just kind of seemed like he couldn't, but but that extra little bit of a greedy opening, I think, really worked really well, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing again. Just the earlier command center, instead of waiting around and trying to do this extra little bit of poke that usually isn't actually working out, Clem choosing to go for a slightly more macro focused strategy. And I think, how is Serral going to respond? Because that looked like it worked so well. Otherwise, all things look pretty much the same. Starport on the way. It's like a 1-1-1, but like it's got a little command center. I really shouldn't name Terran builds. I don't know Terran builds. There's one building and one. So that's probably what that's called. I don't know. But yeah. So Zerg. Let's see. Nice little Ling blood. 20 Lings coming out. Probably just to try and get a little wraparound on these guys. Ooh, I like this. The Liberator coming out. Queens slowly working their way over here. Just trying to secure this base, make sure that they're in position, and Lings running across the map. And it looks to me like this is going to be maybe a bit of a surprise. Oh! Hellions in here at the same exact time in the natural of the Terran. Lings over here. Hellions getting surrounded. Drones even helping out, but these lings in here doing damage, and there's basically no army to stop them. 9 SCVs going down. This is very good for Serral. It's a critical moment in the game. 11 workers killed. Is that 11 workers killed? How does that work? Because I see 11 here. Yeah, so the red is 11 killed for Serral. Okay, yeah. So Serral killed 11 workers. Very nice. We're seeing 32 for Clem to 44 for Serral. Nice. I don't know about commanding, but actually 10 workers, pretty commanding, actually. Maybe a commanding lead. Of course, Clem has this extra CC, so it might be offset by that. You just can produce so many more SCVs so quickly with that, so that might be able to offset this damage, but Serral just quickly bouncing up to 51 workers. Lair coming up. And I did see a spore crawler being built, which is going to be necessary. Maybe for this Liberator. I guess the queens can kind of deal with Liberators. You can position them on the outsides of the rings here, just like this. And then you can harass them, so... The worker lead has been closed just a little bit. Never mind. Serral keeps making more. Serral, I think, taking this lead and just kind of running with it. I love it. And taking his 4th. Very wonderful. Baneling Nest coming down. Looks like we're going to see regular old Lingbane. But are we going to see... Oh, we're seeing 1-1, which is very good. Are we going to see... After the lair comes down, what are we going to see? Are we going to see a Hydra Den? Are we going to see a Spire? I'm kind of feeling like we might see a Spire. I'm just like feeling it, you know? I'm just... We'll have to see. Nope, Hydra Den. Wrong, I'm wrong. That's cool. I love like the lurkers. It's very fun. I do love seeing mutas though. They're so exciting to watch. Here's this little force coming over here, but there are a lot of lings and definitely just gonna have to pick up and get out of there. This 3rd base though has come down and it is working quite well. Looking at the income, we can see that it's in the favor of Zerg, definitely, but not in such a way that it's so extreme, is what I would say. Just a little Zergling scout over there. And we're adding on our extra barracks for the Aaron. I almost called him a Zerg. Little force over here. Still harassing, just causing problems. I love this creep spread. I feel like this creep spread is really good. You know? It's really far out. I'd love to see it further out here. Already spreading it there. That's great. And then further down here, it's of course very difficult to do that. Very APM intensive if you're trying to spread creep everywhere. Yeah, we're going to see Hellbats. Woo! I think the Hellbats have been an addition that I really enjoyed so far. Adding on a 2nd factory. I think, is that a 2nd or a 3rd? 2nd factory. Just good old MMM. Probably gonna add on mines later. 1-1, almost finishing. Ooh, sniping some of those Banes. Very nice. And then we're gonna see a little force up here as well, pushing. So we're gonna have these 2 forces. Run! Oh my god, that's so many lings. Oh, getting them, picking them up, losing like 1 Hellion, it looks like. Ooh, and that mine, not quite going off. Very nice job, though. Very, very, very fun. So, my opinion, this looks really good for Serral. Serral last time, it was a lot harder to get up to 5 bases. And then when he was up to 5 bases, the Terran was right behind him. In this game, that is not the case. So this game is, in my opinion, much more favored towards Serral. But it's, of course, never, you know, determined before, you know, until you see who wins, because one good big push, just like we're seeing, could be the end of it all. Especially when you have to keep some units here. because Clem will not let these guys die. Here we go, sieged up, even got a Liberator here, pushing onto the creep, trying to see if they can snipe this little expansion. Zerg's only got one avenue of attack, does not get that classic little wraparound that he loves, which makes the Zerg so powerful. So this is looking really good. Looks like, oh, here we go. Looks like the push is coming. Getting one little Baneling detonation, even getting some surround on these Lings. Very nice, sniping off one of the tanks, chasing these guys all the way out. Serral says, creep or not, you are leaving. Great job by Serral. Oh, look at that little visual glitch there. No, leave the Banelings alone. No, he's sniping little Banelings. Very cute. Ooh, look how many mines that is. It's so many mines. Ooh, and up here? Nope. Hive on the way. 10-minute hive. A lot slower hive than we saw in the other games. So we're going to see slower tech. Maybe eventually. I wonder what we're going to see eventually. Try to think. Because we've got lurker tech, right? But we don't have any lurkers yet. And Terran has successfully gone up to 4 bases. Zerg, of course, snatched another base in this entire encounter. 1-1 finishing here. Or 2-2, I mean. So it's going to get doubly scary here in just a second. Ooh, chasing these guys all the way away. It's like 2-2 for Zerg and Terran. Ooh, this Zerg base... I mean, Zerg base getting a little bit threatened by this miniature Doom drop. Looks like we're finally adding on our first Hydralisks, which I think we're going to turn into Lurkers. I don't know where the Lurker Den is. Maybe there is no Lurker Den. Surely there is. And then we're getting Vipers. Adrenal glands. I love to see it. I feel like we haven't seen a lot of adrenal glands. Or maybe I just missed it. But either way, I'm excited to see it because it's going to be necessary. I think Serral is just going to try to use his, like, lead that he's had with his economy. And I think he still has a lead. And just, like, try to leverage that into overwhelming amounts of this Ling Bane. And, oh, now the Lurker Den's coming down. I guess I just somehow knew the Lurkers were coming. I don't know how I knew that. Oh, because the Hydra Den. Yeah. Yeah. So, Lurkers will really add a lot. They'll add a lot of, like... I mean, the crazy thing is, in my mind, it's like Lurkers are like a defensive unit, but Serral loves using them aggressively. Oh, look, Amber, here we go. Viper effectively neutralizing that tank, allowing the Zerg army to push all the way out here, clearing that up, and even clearing up a little bit of an army force over here. Maybe even going to get the snipe on this guy. Oh. 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 He got it. Okay. Sorry, the camera jerked away right at the last second when it died. Man, now this is a game. This is a game where I would not count any player out. But I do like Serral's position a lot more. Swarm coming down here onto this planetary, getting in the mineral line, and I think they're definitely gonna snipe this. I like that a lot. I think super important. Just don't let that. I think if the Terran gets a 5th base, I think that's going to be so rough. And we already got another base coming over, an orbital this time. And once these upgrades are done for the Lurkers, it's going to be so huge because the Lurkers are just going to be... I mean, they're just going to... It's going to be exactly what it is now. It's going to be worse for Clem. But thankfully, Clem, already thinking about it. Already making the ghost. Clem's no amateur. Clem's already prepared. He's got ghosts on the way. And if we can see him use them like he used last time, then we might be able to make this happen. clearing out this little tiny force, defending the, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th base or something. I don't know. And again, forcing the pickup on the 5th. I love that. Just never let the Terran get the 5th. 194 supply to 156 supply right now in favor of Serral. I think that's super wonderful. And exactly what I want to see if I think Serral is going to be able to take this game. Kind of just continuing to run, maybe even sniping this CC and also still just chasing this army away. And jumping onto the 3rd. Oh my god. Serral's army is just sort of rolling over everything. Oh, jumping onto the 4th? Not quite. He kind of recognizes he's getting a little bit cornered. The army supply has dropped really low for the Terran. And this looks so bad. This is what I see is the majority of the Terran army. And there we go. Serral takes it. GG taking the lead 4-3. Great job, Serral. Wonderful game. Took that lead and just ran it right into the end game. Didn't even need lurkers to come out. Just Hydra, Ling, Bane, and rolled over Clem. See you guys in the next game. Hey guys, and welcome to game 8 between our two amazing professionals. Serral and Clem, of course, going at it. 4-3 in favor of Serral. Serral only needs one more game to win the entire series and snag that $10,000 prize for himself. Acquiring the 3rd base. Already building metabolic speed, but Serral's taken himself off of gas because once you get speed, you don't need a lot more gas. He's going to spend all that money that he would be getting from gas as minerals instead and invest it into his economy, building queens and building loads of drones. That, of course, always creates a little bit of a weakness because it means Zerg is a little bit more vulnerable, not having these gas-expensive sort of things. At least it's not gasless, though. He didn't just skip speed at all. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the Terran is up to. So we see the CC, and we see the 3 bases. See a tech lab. It looks like that's going to go on the starport because it looks like we're going to see Banshees. What is this? A little marine here? Just, I love that Clem does this. Just kind of covers his bases with marines just to look for overlords. This little army down here. Just kind of scouting out. Trying to see where they can potentially do some damage. Cloak on the way already. So in no time, we're going to see the Banshee across the map and dealing some damage, or at least trying to. And then into that, we see another tech lab. I guess for the, once you're done with the, whatever these guys are called, Hellions, then you can, nope. It's going to go ahead and build, so I guess the tech lab, oh, it's the tech lab's for the Marines, so that you can build STEM and stuff like that. And then they're going to just do another reactor and then more barracks. And we got 4 Hellions and a single Reaper. So far, not losing much at all in this game. No workers killed. Just 2 units killed. It's probably like Zerglings, you know, from the early guys. And here we go, we have the first harassment with the Banshee at the same exact time. Little poke over here, but Queen's repelling them. And then Cloak will be done here in just a second, and so we'll probably see the Banshee trying to go back in. 4th secured for the Zerg. Wonderful. Love to see it. And a Baneliness taken. Where's that Banshee? Here's the Banshee. Looks like the Banshee's going in. There is already a Spore Crawler in the 3rd base, so maybe you can do a little bit of damage, but it's going to be real tough to do any real damage. 2 Banshees, though. You never know when there's 2 Banshees. Maybe they'll get a Queen. I could see that. Look how quick the Queens die. And the Hellions are showing up at the same exact time, doing damage. Thankfully, some Transfuse is coming down. Nice micro there, saving the queens, not losing a single one. Now, 71 workers for Serral. Taking a really nice lead, 71 to 57, and I wonder why that is. Don't see a ton of units over here. I do see the third for Terran. But 80 workers. Serral is definitely droning harder than normal. We see the Hydroden already on the way. Usually that's for lurkers. So currently we have 3, 4, 5 gases mining. So we got a lot of gas being mined right now for the Zerg. We can see that little Zerg advantage. But we got this little force coming across. And there's a decent amount of Hellions, so I think there's quite a lot. And these Hellions eventually will be able to turn into Hellbats once this armory is done. Being forced to pick up over here. Serral completely on top of this. Not letting these guys sneak in or get any damage. This is looking really good for Serral. I think like going up to 80 workers or so quickly, and just being completely not unharassed, but not taking undamaged. That's the word. He's not taking any damage from any of these Terran pokes, just repelling them perfectly. Taking his 5th, now sending a little Zerg army down here, but the 2 Banshees seem like they repel it. Still in favor. The economy. Serral. Army-wise, we do see that Clem has a little bit of an advantage at 100 army. So I think this is going to come down to the push, and we're going to have to see if Serral can hold, because yeah, that's a lot of Marines, a lot of medevacs, and a lot of tanks. Even some Banshees thrown in there, so you better have an Overseer ready or whatever. That's something that I always struggle to do, is like, you know, the enemy pushes, and then they just have like a couple cloak units, and I don't happen to have any Overseers, or it gets sniped, you know, and then I just kind of like cry. Currently, one Zerg army up north, but needs to be down south if we're going to deal with this. Creep spread not helping a lot to deal with this push. Going to be diving on here, sieging up, setting up, even with Widow Mines positioned, pre-splitting the entire Marine army. Zergs, at the same exact time, going down here, attacking the 4th for the Terran, while somehow managing to defend against this so far. But we're going to have to see an attack at some point. Maybe even this Zerg army here could wrap around from the backside, and that would just be something lovely to see. Transfuse is coming down on the... not a Nexus. There we go. Full surround coming down. Serral surrounding the entire army. Has to pick up. These tanks are going to go down. Serral just completely defeating this army, taking his economy lead, and just running with it. Clem's trying to get as much of an advantage as he can, sniping off some of those banelings where he can. Hive starting at 9 minutes and 30 seconds. Whew. Off to a very spicy start. Looking to be very strong for Serral. Serral definitely took a little bit of a more greedy approach, and looks like it truly paid off, especially with how well he was doing at defending against all these attacks. Currently now, though, we definitely see this small attack down here. Serral can never quite ignore it, but at the exact same time, lots of Hellbats and other such things pushing towards the north. And in the meantime, this 4th base has been acquired, and it's even turned into a planetary. Adding on the planetary, adding on the gas. Oh, a little army here, pushing in, exploding on these Hellbats with these banelings. Serral just has so much. I mean, it doesn't really matter how much you split when there's that many units. It doesn't even matter if you're on creep. Serral just easily pushing that away. And look at this creep spread. Just look on the map. Like, look at this creep spread. Just all the way across the map already, 10 minutes into the game. Burrow coming down, Infestors. Oh, you love to see it. You don't get to see Infestors very often. But Fungals can be so fun, especially for these armies that are trying to get away, trying to be slippery. And when you fungal an army, I'm pretty sure you can't pick them up. So I like this. Grabbing this space down here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 bases for the Zerg. This one looks like it's going to be a little hard to hold on to. Not even canceling it. An attack down here. Zerg just able to fight in the middle of the map. Zerg just in such a commanding spot. And trying to grab these bases here. I love this. Trying to grab these side bases. A little bit difficult with the creep spread not being here. But if you can defend any of these bases and mine in these minerals, these are technically supposed to be Clem's bases. So when you mine those out, if the game comes down to a truly long endgame, then the Zerg will have an advantage because Clem will have less minerals by the time he actually reclaims his own base. You know, if you drew a line down the map, that should be Clem's. But Clem grabbing this base, even turning it into a planetary. 3-3. About a third of the way done. No cancel again. Oh, and this army down here. Whew, just hitting from all sides. That's Clem for you. Yeah, I mean, and they're really fighting for their life because if Clem loses this, then Serral just wins. So Clem really knows that he's going to have to really just, you know, turn everything up to a notch. And I mean, you can just see it. There's units everywhere running across the map, constantly pushing and just trying to stop, you know, Serral from being able to just run away with this advantage, right? But honestly, it feels a little bit hard. It feels like maybe it's already happened. There's already so many minerals. There's already so much gas. He's really going to have to pull a rabbit out of a hat if he's going to make this work. Pushing onto here, though. This little army. Just a little baby army. A few baneling explosions. Doing quite good. This Zerg army, though, kind of thinning out. Yeah, and all those forces being sent up there. But there's another attack coming down here. And Serral, sneaky as heck. He's got a little infestor guy just watching the entire time. I wonder, are we going to see ghosts or anything? We do have a Ghost Academy, but I haven't seen any ghosts in production. 3... Looks like... Just not going for... Serral only going for the defense upgrade, the final defense upgrade, not going for the attack upgrade, which is a little interesting. Also, adrenal glands. I wonder where that is, but... Oops. This army running out here trying to defend the 5th base, or what was the 5th base, and the fungal coming in from behind. The sneaky little fungal can't pick those guys up, even sniping some of the medevacs. Great job by Serral, clearing that little bit of army out. But look at Clem's supply. Clem's supply is still so high. And Clem has gone up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases. Completely, I wouldn't say uncontested, but that is a terrible position. Something we saw in the last game. As much as I love Serral's position in this game, what we saw in the last game was the denial of the 5th base and the constant denial of it. In this game, we don't see that. So it's going to come down to one of these late game fights where both players have these really strong economies. And that's just going to be more difficult. We're going to have to see Serral show up in another way because Serral hasn't been able to deny these 5th bases. I love these little fungals coming out just to get these little units. Sadly, losing the infestor, losing his life. It does feel like Zerg has so much and more hidden infestors. This is so interesting. But look, these like little baby armies fighting each other, just like the... You know, they're all parading across the map, back and forth, constantly fighting. And here we go, Clem. Serral knows he can't handle it because there's just way too much economy. It might feel weird to see that. Serral not really taking any damage, but Serral wasn't able to stop Clem from growing. And Clem takes the game. Now they are both one game away from winning this entire series. I'll see you guys in the next game. Alright guys, welcome to the final game of the grand finals of this entire tournament. Of course, the player that wins this will get $10,000. I just wanted to point out we had a 15 pool from Serral. after the expansion, of course. So I don't know how much faster that is than normal, but it is maybe a little bit faster. I'm not super sure. I don't know the exact build orders anymore. But let's see what happens. Clem scouting across with his little SCV, just sitting here trying to see where exactly will the Zerg go when the Zerg expands. Now we're starting metabolic boost and coming right off of gas again. I wonder if it's going to be the same kind of thing where we see heavy economy focus from Serral, not building any banelings early or any other gas units early. Just gonna have to wait and see. Let's see what's going on over here. So we've got an early CC again. I like this. I've always liked when we see this, because it just seemed like Clem was doing so well when he was taking these early expands, and it seemed like he very rarely ever got any damage. Ooh, saving that little drone that was trying to make this new base, saving it from this Reaper. Great micro by Serral. Canceling it and actually going home because he already has the third base on the other side. Looks like they got that Reaper. And then 32 workers for Serral. Yeah, it seems like just a couple links coming across. It seems like these builds where you come off the gas like that, I don't know, it seems like they just work really well. Like the worker leads, I see them a little more commonly, but he is back on gas now. I can't actually speak to the exact reason why we're seeing so many more workers. It's only 5 more, but it seems like in other games sometimes that they're a little more on par with each other when droning and macroing in the early game. Of course, we have this orbital being built here, and we have further tech being built. Starport, more barracks, and upgrading STEM, and going for a reactor. And we're trying to see the Zerg trying to scout over here to see what they see. Probably only saw these first 2 buildings, but sees the reactor, which is pretty much all he needs to see. Lair started up 4 minutes and 26 seconds. Roach Warren as well. I also like when we see the Roach Warrens. I think they're a lot of fun. Oh, look at this. And we're grabbing 2 more gas over here. So that's a total of 4 gas being grabbed. Probably going to jump on those pretty soon. Going to have a ton of gas income very soon here for our Zerg. 50 workers to 42. Overall, pretty normal so far. Gonna have to see what exact kind of tech comes down as soon as this flare finishes. Just going for Carapace so far and getting a little bit of a surround on this little guy. Very nice. And immediately making roaches and upgrading Goliath Reconstitution. Now that is very peculiar to me, because that's a fast speed. And I'm having a feeling like this is going to be... Yeah, look, we already have 9 roaches being built. This looks like a roach rush. Thing's kind of getting in the main base. Sniping 2 guys. You can't leave. Locking them in. And so far, I don't think this has been scouted at all. Serral, after killing those Hellions, has not been scouted, as far as I can tell. 3 bases. Serral, here's the roaches. Not a roach rush. I'm dumb. It's not a roach rush. They're not going across the map. He's still making more. He's making so many roaches. Why? That's a lot of roaches. I feel like he's definitely gonna make Ravagers and go across the base. Because this is so many. What's the worker count? Serral actually below in workers. 57 to 64. And that's because it's a Roach Rush. Okay. I don't know if I just like called that prematurely. Like maybe it's normal to go Roaches against Terran in this way. But so far it just seemed like these kind of things, when you see this, it just kind of seems to look like a Roach Rush. Or I don't know if it's like a rush, maybe. Some kind of, but it's definitely like an all-in, like letting Terran get 69 workers. This is really going to have to work out. Serral literally putting everything on the line. This is really, I mean, kind of blowing me away. Like, what does... We do have... What does the defenses look like? We've got 2 siege tanks on the high ground. I'd like to... Well, no, I guess maybe that one's okay there, but the Zerg totally getting into the natural. Oh, and sniping this tank. Oh, the Marines just look so puny. They've got a full concave on these guys, but there's so many roaches. So many roaches. 20 SCVs going down. Serral destroying another tank and destroying this army from the Terran. Clem has got to be in a really rough spot. He's got to be wondering like what he can do to even take this game, if it's even possible at this point. That is so much damage. How do you even manage from this kind of position? Like, I don't want to just keep reusing the same line over and over again, but like, I feel like you're gonna have to pull a bit of a rabbit out of your hat. Well, actually, maybe I'm speaking too soon, because maybe that didn't do enough damage, because 54 workers, there's still a lot of workers here. Ooh, kind of running out there. Still a lot of workers for Clem. But Serral's not done. Serral is still flooding. Like, I mean, just look at the mini-map. They're just flooding in everywhere. Coming into the natural. Coming into the third base. Taking out another siege tank. Oh, I feel like there's no way you can keep this base, you know. The Terran army just looks so puny. Just did not expect this at all. Even using the SCVs. Even getting a little bit of a wraparound with the Lings. Destroying another tank. Serral is just completely dominating this game. Just completely catching Clem by surprise, pushing up into the throat of the Terran onto the main production. And this is where it's going to get really hard, because how can Terran come back from this? Having to pull the SCVs and pulling the SCVs. 25 SCVs dead now just in this single attack. So much going down. It's 57 to 31 SCVs. And Serral is not stopping. Serral's not stopping anytime soon. Just look at this map. Look at these guys streaming all the way across. And we're really... Yeah, okay, we started mining back here again, but Serral is not gonna... Clem is somehow holding on, but this is gonna be... I mean, this is really devastating. Serral's gonna have to really overextend very, very far if Serral's gonna make... There we go. Clem calls it. Surrenders, gives the game to Serral, and we have our grand finals winner of the entire tournament. That's $10,000 for Serral, but Clem put up a great fight. They both deserve their position. That was maybe like one of the best series I've seen in a long time, just back and forth the entire time. Both of them, truly the GOATs, and I'm so happy to just cast this, and I'm so thankful to you guys for having stuck around for this series. Thank you so much, and have a great day. I'll see you guys next time.